Hello and welcome to another modern video. Today we're going to be looking at Karn Amulet. This is one of my favorite versions of Amulet Titan. And I think that we may be in a situation where it's possible that Karn is again a good place to be when thinking about building Amulet. The reason for this is that there's a ton of Blood Moons running around and Karn turns to shine against those. And also Hammer is a very powerful deck right now as well. Karn very good against that. Even stuff like Living End has started to raise in popularity, and Karn being able to fetch for your one-off Tormod's Crypt or even potentially Relic Opportunities can be the difference between basically winning and losing a game number one. So because of that, I think that Karn is in a pretty solid spot right now. And this list is sort of built to try to maximize on Karn. I've been very happy with this main deck. The only consideration that I would think about is potentially cutting maybe a card like Cultivator in order to make room for a second Azusa. Another thing to consider is whether you want to play like either Cultivator or the fourth copy of Karn the Great Creator, which I do have in the sideboard chilling over here. But you could play the fourth copy in the main deck as well. But besides that, I'm very happy with this main deck. I think Expedition Map is absolutely fantastic and definitely worth including. I think Boseiju is still very good. Again, I just named Blood Moon as one reason to play a deck list like this one. So we're making, we're definitely interested in playing multiple copies of Boseiju. We have two in the main deck, even a third one in the sideboard. And you will notice something that I haven't been a fan of for a while, which is main deck Bojukepog. But as I'm saying right now, Living End is on a very serious, the opposite of decline is in the uprise. There you go. And as such, I think that having access to main deck Bojukepog can turn a bunch of lost games into wins, particularly when you manage to resolve a Primeval Titan. And then sure, your opponent can Living End, but at least they don't get a bunch of power on the crackback, right? So they do kill your Titan and you may be in trouble anyways, but you at least get to exile their entire graveyard. This is also pretty solid against DRC decks. Being able to play your Titan and then protect it from unholy heat can be very powerful. Also, making your DRCs, your opponent's DRCs not able to fly and kill you is also a big deal. And yeah, this is the deck list that we're going to be playing. You're going to notice that I'm playing only a single copy of Valakut. The reason for that is that we have Karn as an alternate win condition, and as such, I don't really want to rely too much on Dryad, and I don't think that this deck really needs to rely too much on Dryad either. So you could, instead of the Valakut, you could cut maybe like the Tolera West, you could cut potentially the second copy of Zeju, or you could cut the Bojukepog in the main deck in order to make room for the second Valakut. But I think that this is a fine place to be, and I kind of like how this works. I was never really a fan of playing multiple Valakuts anyway, at least in Boros Garrison builds, like Boros Garrison, Slayer Stronghold builds of Amulet. So I don't really miss the Valakut too much. I'm just not afraid about playing only a single copy of Valakut. I think that a lot of people really overvalue the importance of the card in the vast majority of matchups. There are certain which is fine. Like there are certain matchups where you definitely want to have access to the Valakut angle, but I don't think is as important as people think it is in the vast majority of matchups. In the sideboard, we have, of course, a Karn package. We have Walking Ballista, we have Explosives, we have Golos. This is a one-off that I get a lot of questions about. I think that this is your big card to guarantee that you get value from. In the past, I've played cards like Wormcoil Engine in this slot as well, but I think that Golos is a very powerful addition to the deck because it's a card that you can cast under Blood Moon in order to get access to one of your basics, and then from there you're going to be able to cast your Boseijus or your Dryads, which are going to be able to fix your mana. So against Blood Moon decks, Golos is absolutely fantastic. And even against non-Blood Moon decks, being able to play Golos and find your Valakut if that's something that you're fighting for, if that's an angle that's good, or like Tolera was to set up a Titan, or even Ursa's Saga if you need to grind out some value, all of those are very powerful plays. Liquid Melancholy, of course, in any Karn deck, you need to have access to Karn in the sideboard. Tormod's Crypt and Relic of Progenitus. I'm going a little bit bigger on Graveyard Hate, and that is because of the reasons that I stated above. Blue-Red is very good. Blue-Red Murktide, so is Living End. So because of those reasons, I want to make sure that I am prepared for the Graveyard decks. And then the last card is Pity Needle. This is mostly a nod towards Yawgmoth and the importance of that deck and how good I think that deck is. and just having access to the One of Needle really swings that matchup considerably. Then we have, Boseiju, a couple of copies of Force of Vigor, because, we can just have access to those cards. Dismember as an answer to Magus. By the way, Karn, another very, very good threat against the Magus of the Moon decks. You can go find your Walking Ballista, kill the Magus. You can even play something like Sky Sovereign in the sideboard, which is probably like the de facto best answer to Magus. And Endurance is the last two cards in the sideboard. Just probably one of the best green cards printed ever, or at least in the past year or two. Hope you're enjoying the content. If you are, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're interested in stuff like coaching or me playing any deck list of your choosing, you can check out all the information that you need in the description of the video down below. Without further ado, let's go to round number 1. Okay, here we go. Turn 1 Amulet on the play. I think I'm keeping this hand. What makes this hand is the castle, in my opinion. I'm probably going to lead on Sunhome anyways, but so we're going to go turn 1 Sunhome, Amulet, turn 2 Castle. We have a multitude of good draws at that point. If we find Dryad, we can actually play it on turn 2 or Azusa as well. So we're gonna start with that, and I think that's gonna set us up fairly well. Turn 1 Basic Force into Grazer. We're playing the mirror match. Kind of scary. I don't think this hand is particularly great against the mirror match, but we'll see. We can just draw an Azusa or a Dryad, and we can be in fantastic shape. We don't. We draw a Radiant Fountain. So here's Castle, and I'm just gonna say go. Opponent plays a Saga. A little bit scary. If I find Azusa or a Primeval Titan, I can Titan my opponent here, which is pretty good, not gonna lie. So those will be my best draws. I think my opponent has Boseiju, so they're gonna draw step Boseiju me here. Sure. Get a Basic Forest, and so I'm gonna Titan them next turn. So I think I'm just gonna chill here. Gonna bounce Sunhome, so I just have it in hand, I think. Them getting Saga there is pretty scary, because this means that in a couple of turns, if my opponent does resolve a Titan, they're gonna get over the top of what my Titan's gonna do. But if they don't kill me on the spot, like if they don't have an Azusa or something, or a Dryad or something, then we can actually come back. So this is gonna be the key turn. If my opponent can play a Dryad here, then I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. If they can't, then I think I'm very likely to win. So this is the key turn. Opponent plays the Forest, then play a Arboreal Grazer. Okay, so they have a slower hand. So we know Basic Forest in hand and nothing else. So their plan is to go for the tokens, which we don't really care about. So I think that puts us in a solid spot here. So let's pact, let's get a Primeval Titan, and we have to make sure that we have enough mana to pay for pact, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And it's a matter of what we want to do next. I don't think we're going to have too many more turns. So I think what I want to do is I want to go get Valakut and Boseiju. And this means that next turn I can have an answer to their Dryad, because I can just play Celestine's. I can pay for Pact, and they play Sanctuary, bounce this, and not only do we have an answer to their Dryad, but we also have a way to make our Dryad more powerful in Valakut. If my opponent has second Boseiju, they get to answer my Valakut. We are in significantly worse shape, obviously, but if they make a construct here, I'm gonna be feeling really good about my position, because that means that I'm not gonna get tightened. Opponent does indeed make a construct. And I think we're just going to have 6 here. We're just going to see. I'm assuming that they're just going to go find an Amulet. But unless they have second Amulet, and even if they do, they're going to need second Amulet plus Bounce Land, which it's not guaranteed that they have. They go for Expedition Map. Yeah. I think that we are in good shape here. I think we're in very good shape. So we're going to pay for our Pact. I guess I want to pay a little bit differently. We're going to pay here. Yes, this pays for our Pact. Unless my opponent has... I'm not going to play around another Boseiju, I don't think. So we're just gonna go for Dryad here, and this should give me enough damage to kill my opponent, I think. They could have another Boseiju though. If they do have another Boseiju, then we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. I'm still gonna go get probably Vesuva. I guess we can do Vesuva fetch land, and I think we just go 12 at face. Always yes, always yes, always yield. So that's 12 damage at face. Okay, so they don't have it. This means that now I get to play a bounce land, return fetch land. Opponent's gonna send some dudes in there, that's fine. Now, bounce land, face you. bounce my fetch land, play my fetch land, kill you. See, you love to see it. Okay, sideboarding. For sideboarding in the mirror, I do like Boseiju, I do like Forces, and I think Karn is actually very slow, so I don't like Karn the Great Creator. Definitely don't want Bojuka Bog, which gives me room for one Dismember. This is probably like the single most important card in the matchup, so having access to Dismember to stop my opponent's Dryad has proved to be worth it. And we can have, particularly on the draw, and we can have maybe, I think that I want to cut one land here. Maybe the Radiant Fountain? Yeah, this looks good. I think this looks good to me. Yeah, ship it. All right, so this hand has some stuff that I really like, some stuff that I do not like. So we can go turn 2 Explore, turn 3 Dryad, turn 4 Titan, almost regardless of what we do. We're on the draw though, so I think I'm gonna ship it. I'm gonna hope to do a little bit better than that. And this hand is sketchy. This hand is very sketchy. I think we're gonna go to 5 here. Okay, so this is a hand that gets absolutely demolished by force, but it has a really high ceiling. So as such, I think I'm actually going to bottom the Cavern and the Border's Garrison here. This hand has an incredibly high ceiling, and I think that I'm gonna hope that my opponent doesn't have force. If they don't have force, I think it's very unlikely that we don't win this game. I'm ready to call it like that. I think if we can dodge force, we're gonna be Gucci. That's an amulet. Okay, so we can go over the top of basically anything my opponent can ever imagine to do. We can make a token. I think I want to get the other Saga into play and the other amulet. We're just going to pass the turn. So now we're going to get, if we find Titan, we obviously win on the spot. If we don't, we can still find Expedition Map for the Tolera West, and then Tolera West for a Summoner's Pact, and then kill my opponent on the following turn. So opponent's gonna need some stuff here. They do have the Dryad. Do they have the Bounce Land? Because we know that they have the T-West in hand. So do they have the Bounce Land? Looks like they don't. Alright, Titan. It's not a Titan, but this means that we can now bounce. I think I'm gonna bounce the Bounce Land. This is 3 mana plus 2. Yeah. So bounce here, play this out, and I guess I can even, no, I can't do anything. Can't do that, so we're just gonna float blue, get blue here, crack Expedition Map for Tolera West, transmute T-West for Summoner's Pact, ask my opponent, do you have it? Because if you don't, you're very dead. The good thing is, I guess my opponent could force, if they force Saga plus Amulet, they're not dead. They did draw the force. I imagine that they drew the force right now, because otherwise they should have used it earlier. So I imagine that this was my opponent's top deck right here. I guess that this also does stop it, but like I have more outs now, because Dryad gives me a kill, Azusa gives me a kill, another Pact gives me a kill. Here we go. We do have 20 damage. Does my opponent have the Bounce Land? They haven't showed it yet. Looks like they don't have the bounce. Here's my Bounce Land. I mean, they know about the Summoner's Pact, so no surprises here. Oh, Boseiju. Okay. Opponent's treading water over there. They're not really progressing their game plan or anything. I think that they messed up. Like, they should not have played the Tolera West. Like, they could have transmuted at this point. Do you have another Boseiju opponent? Yeah, looks like you don't. Okay, so now that we guarantee that we have the mana that we're gonna need, we can transmute for Pact. Here's my prime time. And I'm gonna go for haste here. And then we can go for Boseiju plus Bounce Land on attacks. And what that's gonna do for me is it's gonna make it so I don't just die to this Dryad if my opponent has it. I'm gonna hold on to a Bounce Land in hand. So move to combat, 10U, and now we fetch Boseiju plus Growth Chamber. Doesn't matter how we stack here because we're gonna bounce this regardless. We have a Bounce Land in hand, which is nice. We're gonna have Boseiju in hand, which we have enough mana to activate. One chumps, sure, it's fine. Pass the turn. Is there any world where I kill the Amulet? No, there's no world where I kill the Amulet. There's also no world where I kill the Dryad because my opponent is clearly missing land drops, right? So right now it's not the time to kill the Dryad. Opponent does have the prime time. We're gonna wait and see what they get. They have Stronghold, and Boseiju in their Stronghold right now doesn't really do anything for me because we have our own Stronghold. So my opponent's gonna get Vesuva here to try to haste the Titan. Yeah, that doesn't do it. Right? Amulet on tap trigger. Resolves. They went face with everything, or they killed the Titan. Can you move, please? Thank you. Kill your Dryad. Maybe they have another Dryad in hand, but if they do, they don't have a land, so I don't care. They also didn't haste, so we're just good here. Okay, so pay for my pact on upkeep. Yes. Now this there is the question. Do I want to get Dryad here? I think the answer is yes. So if my opponent does have, yeah, I think so. So let's do Summoner's Pact, because I don't think they can have an answer to my prime time. So worst case scenario is they also have Boseiju for my Dryad, but in that case, like they either ramp me or I just attack them and I just double strike, forcing the chump, because I can also Slayer Stronghold with the extra land drop that I get off the Dryad. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna play the Dryad and then make sure that I use my extra land drop immediately, even though it doesn't actually trigger Valakut, because the Valakut triggers are going to be enough anyways. And by putting Boros Garrison into play and activating Stronghold on the Primeval Titan, I can just find Sunhome plus Valakut off of the Primeval Titan trigger, and even if my opponent kills my Dryad, I'm still swinging in for 16 with Primeval Titan. So I'm still in okay shape. So I think we were basically guaranteed to win that game. I think my opponent made a mistake there. They should have held on to the bounce land, and they were super punished because they just never found another one. So yeah, holding on to your bounce lands is important when you have an Amulet hand. See you next round. Round number 2. This hand is an absolute banger. Absolute banger. Love everything about this hand. The only thing we're playing against the red deck. So this is maybe good or bad. We're about to see that. That was a good draw. Excuse me. But yeah, if we're playing against like a Blood Moon style red deck, this is gonna be bad, but we'll see. Basic Mountain tells me prowess, maybe, or something like that. So, this puts me in an interesting spot. Well, having drawn second Dryad basically answers the question now, but it would have put me in an interesting spot, right? Because I'm in a situation where I kind of want to hold on to the Dryad until after my opponent Blood Moons me. But now that I drew a second copy, I can just, do this for free. And I'm just gonna pass the turn here. Gracer can net me mana next turn, which I may need. But my opponent going Mountain basically guarantees that they have Blood Moon effect here, which is a good thing we have Karn in our deck, right? Season Pyromancer, that's not good enough, opponent. That's not gonna do it. Lightning Bolt, Shinka, the Blood Soaked Keep. Oh, my opponent's considering Fury here. Does Fury do anything? Like, they kill my Dryad, yeah, so it's definitely correct for them to Fury here, for the record. So we have 1, 2 mana. I play the Gracer +1, that's 5 mana, we're 1 short. So I'm gonna lead on Explore, because if I find the second Amulet, ooh, alright. That's a very nice way to play around Blood Moon. And I definitely want to play this right now. So we can go Sanctuary, Gracer. Oh, we have 2 land drops, yeah, so we can go... This is 2 mana, 4 mana. We can now go down to 1, play Dryad, then up to 3, then play Gracer, up to 4, that's Karn. Play my land. So Karn, obviously a fantastic draw right there. And I think I'm just gonna Karn plus, actually. Karn plus on nothing. My opponent can then blow up my Amulet, which would be a little bit sad. Not too sad, but a little bit sad for sure. They have a land. Pathway. The red-white pathway? Okay. I assume my opponent was going to be playing mono-red, but it looks like maybe they're splashing white. Opponent passes the turn. I mean, there's no way they attack, right? Block. It's not really particularly great attack. So they're just going to... Okay. Play Crumbling Vestige? You're going to crack that or not? They're not going to crack that. Okay. Are you sure you don't want to crack that? Are you entirely sure you don't want to crack that? Yeah, that wasn't the play. That was not the line. That was almost certainly not the line. So let's go. I definitely want to get a bounce land here. Could get Bossage. Let's actually just go get Bossage Bounce Land. This allows me to play around a potential Blood Moon. Do I want to minus Karn or do I want to plus again? I kind of want to... Let's just plus again. Like, they cannot kill the Karn. I have no reason to expose it either. We just have so much stuff that we're doing right here that I don't think my opponent can do anything to come back into the game. I don't think anything they do matters anymore. Sure, Season Pyro, they could have Blood Moon, I don't care. They could have Magus, I also don't care. And I certainly do not care about Season Pyromancer. So I think this is just game. Heh, yeah, this is just game. Okay, attack. Yes, let's get Valakut and Vesuva. Let's tag those Season Pyros. Bounce Vesuva, swing for a bunch, play this, Facia, and I'm just gonna play another Titan, call it a day, just hitting cards at random. Sweet. Okay, so we want to play around Magus, and we want to play around Blood Moon. I don't think we care about Cultivator, that's not what this matchup's gonna be about. Karn seems fantastic, so that's a very, very easy swap right there. We don't care about Bojuka Bog, and I think that we want to cut the Explorers. Yeah, my opponent showed me Monkey, so I definitely do not want to cut Gracer, so we're just going to cut the Explorers then. I could actually... Never mind. Let's actually cut one Ursa Saga, at least, maybe two. Because the reason to do this is my opponent's main game plan against me is to have Saga, to have Blood Moon in play. So let's cut two Sagas and let's bring in... that's 60 cards, never mind. So yeah, so we can do 30 lands in like 30 spells. This looks fine to me. Yeah, let's submit. This hand is exactly what you want in this kind of matchup. An answer to a monkey, and this hand could not care any less about Blood Moon or Magus or any sort of moon effect. I could not care any less. So this is exactly what we're looking for. Opponent goes turn one then, and then do nothing. So I'm almost certain that my opponent does not have a Blood Moon. That does have a Blood Moon, or at least some sort of moon effect. So I'm going to try to develop my mana. Yeah, with my opponent going turn two nothing, like they just 100% have a Blood Moon. So we're just going to go play these on Giant. And I think I'm just going to play Dryad and Bounce Land. And the reason to do this is it puts the pressure on my opponent, and by doing this, I make it so now my opponent needs to play the Blood Moon. If they don't, they straight up lose. They do. But we already have an answer to the moon effect anyway, so we don't really care too much. Pillage! So I guess Karn is going to be the plan. And because of Blood Moon, I think I'm going to sit on that, actually. So Cavern Giant, play Boseiju, play Karn. And I think I'm going to Pawn Plus... And I'm going to attack with the Dryad because we have the Gracer to block the little guy anyway. A hasty monkey anyways, so I don't think I care. Blood Moon. Never saw that one coming. So Vesuva. So Vesuva is going to come into play, copy nothing. So now what we do is we get Golos, cast our Golos, get another basic, and swing for two. They also, like, they had two threats and now they have no threats. This is what I was saying against Karn. Like, sure, my opponent can now, like, Fury my Karn. Whatever. Like, we're just slam a Titan. Now they have to deal with our Titan. Like, it's just... Karn is just so much pressure. It's so good against Blood Moon decks. It's absolutely ridiculous. So this is definitely, like, one of the reasons that I wanted to try Karn today. This is like exactly why I wanted to try Karn today. So we're gonna save that for Magus specifically. Let's take a peek at the sideboard. Nothing I really care about there. So I think we're just gonna play Primeval Titan. And next turn we can actually start activating Golos, which is funny. So get two basics here. We're gonna plus. Again, I don't want to expose my Karn to like a lightning bolt or something. Like, this Karn is just doing so much work for me. So there's just no need for me to expose it to anything. 4 mana, Chandra. You gotta kill the Dryad, my friend. And if they do kill the Dryad, like, we just kind of kill them. So I really don't care about anything that my opponent's doing here. Sideboard. We can play a Ballista for 4, which is a little bit interesting. So remember that. Take 1,000,000 damage. Don't care. Minus 4 Walking Ballista. Ballista for 4, opponent concedes the game. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like, this is why we play Karn in the deck, right? This is why I wanted to try this out, and super rewarded. I'm not sure that... Yeah, we probably may have lost. We probably may have lost to the Pillage if I didn't have the Karn. But Karn is just such a good bridge to your late game, and just it doesn't care about Blood Moon whatsoever. So good stuff. Stuff. The great creator does it again. See you next round. Alright, so this hand is very interesting actually. So if we can go turn 1 Saga, turn 2 either Valakut or Boseiju, doesn't really matter. And then turn 3 we can go Dryad into turn 4 Titan. We're on the draw, but I think this hand is strong enough to be worth keeping. One with the turn 1 Tron. We have Boseiju. Feels good, man. So let's go turn 1 Ursa Saga, say go. We're gonna go turn 2 Crumbling Vestige. And Boseiju, their Tron land, whatever. Ooh, interesting. So this is blue Tron? Huh. Kinda don't want to give them a blue source, honestly. Huh. The problem is if they do have Karn into Lattice, Karn into Liquid Coating, then we're gonna be in trouble. So I think I'm gonna do it anyway. Make green mana. We have to do this right now. I'm gonna go with Ursa's Power Plant. Like it probably doesn't matter. Maybe there's an argument for going for the mine since the first one that they played, but yeah, mono blue Tron. Haven't seen this deck in a minute. Haven't seen this deck in a minute. Oh yeah, please step out. Whatever you do, please step out. Pass turn. Well, this is very good for us. So flood mana. Definitely gonna go for Amulet. Gonna play our bounce land. Opponent's probably gonna crack right now. That's fine, we don't really care because we already got our value. And then I guess let's do this and play that and say go. So any untap land is going to give us Titan mana. I'm probably not going to jam into open mana. Well, good thing I blew up the thing. So if they tap out for Karn... untap land, please. Unlucky. Honestly, just unlucky. So I'm still 1 land drop away from triggering. So I think I'm just going to play Bounce Land instead of playing Crumbling Vestige. I think it's close, but I think I'm better off doing this. We really want to dodge Thoughtnot Seer. Thoughtnot Seer would be a big problem. Hopefully they tap out for Reality Smasher or something. And if they attack, I'm going to block with Gracer, obviously. I don't want to trade with... I don't want their Reshaper to die. Okay, what is this? This is 4 mana. Elder Deep Fried. Alright, I was not expecting that. That sure is something that could happen. I'm going to play Vestige here. This means that next turn we're just going to start triggering Valakut, which is going to force my opponent to do stuff, which is nice. I want them to do stuff so that I can just blow them out when they tap out. So yeah, this I think we're in good shape, honestly. Now, even if they have Thoughtnot Seer, we can kill the Thoughtnot, draw a card, get Karn into play. If they attack, I'm just going to take it. I think this is more value of protecting my Karn Great Creator. That's a Saga. So let's start there. Might as well. Trigger. Always yes, always yield. Gonna do anything? No. Okay, so I think I want to play around Remand. And Karn is basically just as good as Titan here. Make a token. Okay, I'm okay with that. Okay, so now, just Golos. If I Golos, we do get got by Remand, or even worse would be the other thing. So I think, this is a very close call actually. I'm definitely gonna minus. Like that part we know. Now the question is, do I want to go for coding? I think I actually do. So we coding, this plays around the removal, which is nice. Now we play this out, kill the Deep Fried. Maybe I should have actually done that in the opposite order, because my opponent could have dismember there and I would have gotten super blown out. And here we're gonna go upkeep. I think we're gonna tap a blue source. 2 mana, 3 mana, thirst, repeal. Okay, that's fine. Honestly, I'm kind of happy that they repealed that instead of the Karn or the Dryad. Like they could have repealed the Dryad in response, and then my opponent would have a 5/6 right now. So I think they actually missed. Oh no, they were 1 mana short. My bad. Like I forgot that they actually just. But yeah, that doesn't really do anything. So we're in fantastic shape here. My opponent can find Pithing Needle here. They don't though. Repeal. Okay, and this is exactly why I love Karn. Look at how much time and resources my opponent has spent to deal with this Karn. And then what we do right now is we shrug, the Karn dies, and now we're gonna play a Primeval Titan, and they're gonna die. I guess that their last card could be a Remand, so that would be never mind. Last card cannot be a Remand. So this goes face, counterable Titan, sup. So let's get Besuva for sure, and then want to get a bounce land here. Could also get Boseiju because they have Tron now, but they're gonna be able to recoup the Tron anyway. So I'm just gonna go for T-West. Copy Valakut, 12, yeah. And they know about the bounce land. They also know about the Grazer. So this is what we call super mega lethal in the business. You know, it's very much lethal. All right, game number 2. Boseiju comes in. Don't care for Bojuka Bog. Force of Vigor is probably worth it. I think I do like Cultivator. Karn obviously is fantastic, as we just saw. Radiant Fountain doesn't do anything for me. And I'm going to cut a couple of Gracers. And this looks great. And we're going to ship it and call it a day. Hand's great. Let's keep it. We're going to go turn 1 Saga into Amulet. Opponent's going to be hard pressed to do stuff. And then we can, boom, Dryad them out of the game. This is cool. This is definitely strong. Opponent keeps 5 and keep 5. They'll probably have turn 3 Tron, so that's a little bit scary. Turn 1 Amulet into turn 2 Dryad is promising, to say the least. That's no blue mana, which is probably good for us. So we're gonna play Dryad here. We're just gonna develop some mana, and I think we play second Saga. We really want to dodge Chalice. Chalice could be a little bit of a problem. Wonder if my opponent has also Eldrazi Temple. That would be interesting. Blue. Okay, so we're gonna be interested in getting Cavernous Souls, since my opponent went for blue there. Summoner's Pact. Okay, so let's float green and let's get Expedition Map, Crack Map for Cavernous Souls. What is this? Divide by 0. Okay, that resolves. They discarded the Ursus Tower. Okay, so definitely want to get Cavernous Souls here. And now we're just gonna go play Valakut, say go. So here I imagine opponent's gonna float some mana here. Let's see what they do. They go for map. Now they can crack map and they can try to assemble Tron. But they can only force spike me, or they're just gonna tap out. Okay, they just tap out. So now we just get to Titan them. Get second Amulet, play Bounce Land. We also get to Dryad, which is nice. Play Dryad, play my Bounce Land. So we definitely want to make sure that we don't get got by paying for our own pact. So we pact, and I play the land first because my opponent, if I pact, then my opponent just, bounces the Dryad. So just go float mana here. Now we're going to balance Valakut. And I think I'm just going to be a coward here. And I'm just going to Summoner's Pact for a couple of lands. Summoner's Pact for Primetime, sorry. We're obviously not going to haste because we're going to lose the game. Losing the game's not something that I recommend. So play my Primeval Titan, and we can get a couple of ETB tapped lands here. I guess any land will enter tapped in. And then I can get Dryad into play. Oh, actually what we can do is we can do Slayer's Stronghold plus a green source. Yeah, that looks good to me. So we can do Stronghold plus Boseiju. This means that already I can just pay for Amulet for Titan if I want to. And we're gonna float green here. Float green, play another Dryad, play Valakut, and this forces my opponent to crack. Red, white. Alternatively, I could just not care about hasting, and I could just Boseiju instead. I kind of think I like that better. Yeah, because my opponent could have all this dust, like they could top deck a missing Tron piece and have all this dust. So I'm going to, I think, on upkeep. Yeah, I think we're going to do this on upkeep. See if opponent's going to use the mana. They don't. So Boseiju, blow up the tower because they already used the tower, so they're less likely to have another tower. Now pass the turn. So now even if they have something like great, wow, they completed Tron, dude. They had it. That's wild. That is so crazy. Wow, super rewarded. So pay for my pact so I don't die. Now opponent needs to activate. I'm gonna bounce my Titan right now, otherwise they just lose. Gonna serve. And I think here we're just gonna play some lands. Name Giant. Valakut face. Always yes, always yield. And I think we're gonna play another one. Opponent down to 10. They're gonna complete Tron, but they're like, I don't think there's anything that kills me here. Because they don't have enough to Mindslaver me. They're 2 mana off of Mindslaver. And I think that's the only way that I lose. I guess I technically did miss 2 points of damage, but I don't think that's what this game is, how this game's gonna play out. I don't think that's really gonna matter. Opponent completes Tron. And then pass? Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, here's my uncounterable Primeval Titan. You got something? You got some good stuff? do you got for me, opponent? Nimble Obstructionist. Dude, you gotta love Mono Blue Tron. You gotta love Mono Blue Tron. And that's cool. I mean, now I can get Mindslavered. Now I can actually get Mindslavered now. I can't get locked. They don't have enough time or mana to set up the lock, but I could get Mindslavered. Otawara. That's fine. That doesn't do anything. They're down to 2 cards, up to 3 now with the draw step. Aether Spellbomb doesn't do anything. I mean, it just cycles. But they don't cycle. Okay, what is this? Trinket Mage. Wow. Blue Tron is fun, man. I think Blue Tron is fun. It's definitely a good time. It's definitely a good time. It's a cool deck. It does a lot of cool things. Opponent gets Chalice. That's smart. That's very smart. So do I want to Pact in response? Because if my opponent's last card is a Thought-Knot Seer, I guess we win with any land, so that's fine. But if their last card is a Thought-Knot, like, we actually have a close game. Karn, yeah, that's pretty good. That's a solid card to draw there. So 2. Gonna do this thing again where we play an uncounterable Primeval Titan. Is it gonna be good enough this time, or do we have another Stifle Bird? Stifle Bird number 2? They do! Wow, that's so crazy to me. Alright, opponent's living the dream over there. I guess we don't have lethal. We do force the chump. But this is not lethal. My opponent's at a virtual 1. They're fighting the fight. I respect that. I respect that. So if they draw all this dust, I guess we can just Karn plus on Chalice and they take it from there, so. For 5 mana, I don't think there's anything that they can do. It would be cool if they did have anything that they could do here. Instant Bridge, yeah, that's not gonna do it. So they lose to winning land. So I can fetch and kill the Karn. Because unfortunately Ballista with the Karn in play doesn't really do anything. So I think we're going to have to fetch and kill the Karn. And then, also opponent did not crack either Spellbomb in response. But I think I'm just gonna get Liquid Metal Coating in this spot. Yeah, I think that's the better play. So let's just do that. Minus coding, play coding, and then we're gonna set a stop on my opponent's upkeep, and gonna upkeep tag the tower. All right, so we tag the tower there. Well, let's see what happens. Opponent says, why didn't I plus the amulet and attack to kill them? That would have been a good draw. That would have been a good play, for sure. Not that it matters, but sure. It's true. It's true. I could have. That would have been better, probably. But I mean, if I do that, then if my opponent's last card is an instant, they they just cast the instant and I get blown out. So even though they're like, oh, like, why didn't you do that, silly? It's just like, well, actually, it's not a good play. Like, I do get completely blown out if they have literally any instant. Like, and particularly if they have something like Dismember, or I guess they can't have Dismember, but like, Thirst, I guess Thirst doesn't work either. I don't know. Like, they could have like a bounce spell or something, you know, and then I get completely blown out. So this way just basically ensures that I can't lose. So, sweet. 3, we have yet to drop a game. Good stuff. All right, so we're on the play here. This hand is a turn 3 Dryad, turn 4 Titan with any land. It doesn't even need to be untapped. Yeah, I think I like this. And we can go like turn 1, then we can go turn 2 basic forest, or we can go turn 2 sanctuary, depending on what we see. But I think holding onto the sanctuary is going to be more valuable because of what's his name? Ooh, elves. Okay. Ish. If we top deck an amulet, I definitely want to hold this in hand. Yeah, it doesn't change, so it's better for me to do this and play towards finding an amulet. If we don't find an amulet, we can simply just, you know, play the untap land and play the bounce land. Like, I'll probably beat this. What hand did they keep that they did not keep? Oh, that's very scary now. Well, this is what we got, so this is what we're gonna do. Play Triad, and if they have the infinite combo, we're gonna lose. So any untapped land now is gonna mean Titan, and Titan probably means that my opponent can go infinite here. If they don't go infinite this turn, we can then Karn minus for PD. Elvish War Master is it's a lot of elves. That's a lot of elves. Again, like we can clear this up fairly easily if we find any untapped land. Board for 2. Okay, so my opponent's gonna have infinite mana now. They need a win con though. Actually, I just realized they do not need a win con. They make infinite mana, they activate this guy a bunch, and then they're going to have 2 attackers. So I'm going to take lethal regardless. So I was thinking that I could, you know, chump, then Karn minus, go get PD Needle and name Devoted. That's going to take a really long time. So I think I'm just going to concede here, and I'm just going to save my opponent some clicks. What cards do we want? We definitely want Dismembers. We do not want Cultivate. I think I'm going to cut Karns in this matchup, and I'm going to bring in Walking Ballista, Engineered Explosives, and PD Needle. Cut Bojuka Bog, and I think that this looks good. Golos is a little bit interesting. Like, I could bring in the one of Golos. Can find me... Probably Valakut is the only thing that I'm going to be finding. Man, it's kind of rough that we were exactly 1 short there. That's our first game... Our first game lost in this league. I don't think I care for Golos. I think this is fine. Yep, submit it. All right. This hand, I think we can do better on 6. It's interesting because this has an early Valakut, but then if my opponent has any answer to the Dryad, we're in a lot of trouble. This hand is obviously much better. We're gonna keep this hand, and I think we're just gonna bottom our Royal Gracer. Opponent, I just realized they're playing 61 cards. That's cute. Probably not great. Roll to 5. Okay, turn 1 Amulet, your go. The good thing is that if my opponent has interaction, they're very likely to also be able to enact their game plan very well. Turn 1 Mystic. Fantastic draw. This means that even if my amulet gets destroyed, I'm going to be able to cast Titan regardless. Okay, they have turn 2 Devoted Druid. If they have the combo, if the last card are final combo piece and the missing part, like a win condition, then we may get got here. Bounce this. And let's think about this for a sec. So we're going to have 1 more land drop. We can get, I mean, we're going to have to haste Titan regardless, because otherwise we're just not going to have enough lands. So what we can do is we can haste Titan here, finding Tolera West plus Boros Garrison. We attack. Then we're going to have untapped Tolera West. We attack, we're going to get back, we're going to get Tolera West and Valakut. And we're going to have a Boros Garrison in hand. And I think that thanks to the Gracer, we should have enough mana to do to transmute for Dryad and play it. And then with the extra land drop, be able to kill Devoted Druid. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to lethal them. So that's when we 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, we're good. We're actually just fine. So attack, get Valakut. I guess we're going to get Valakut Vesuva. If their last 2 cards are green card plus 4s, they can blow up Amulet and my Dryad. But if they do that, then they can untap and they can't combo me. So I don't really... Yeah, so that's fine. So Vesuva is going to copy Rule Turf. Bounce the Turf. Thing for 8. It's here. Mute. Pack. Dryad. Play Dryad. Like Rule Turf. Valakut there. And I know I could kill them, but this is... this is just way more. Yeah, this looks good to me. Particularly on the draw, I think that drawing Needle would be good, but I don't think that I'm going to have enough time to Karn minus for it. So I think this is fine. Let's submit it. All right, me likey this hand. Keep it. Me likey this hand. Turn 1 Amulet, turn 2, second Amulet. Put them most to 6. So we could die here, actually, if they have a powerful opener. Brarion Ranger. Here's my Amulet. Here we go. So they can't really ramp this turn. Opponent fetches. And now what? Turn 2 Devoted Druid is very scary. Next turn they're gonna have a lot of mana. That means I don't have the kill now. Can I kill? We play second Amulet, Sanctuary. Play Dryad. We're gonna have 1 mana floating. Pact for Azusa. Yeah, I just don't have it. So I guess if their hand is... They need to have win condition. They need to have like Cord for Vizier, or land plus Vizier mana into win condition. I don't think I have enough. If I pact for Azusa, I just don't have double blue, so I can't go get another pact. And if I can we can play Sanctuary here. That's up to 5 mana. Play Azusa down to 2. Play Sanctuary, Yeah, we just don't have enough. We can transmute this turn though. Oh no, we can't. It's gonna enter tapped. So the only way that we can transmute is if we play Sanctuary, which we don't want to do. So I think all that we have to do is we can play our land, cross our fingers. So I don't think we have a way to set up lethal here, unfortunately. When it floats a mana of Druid, 2 mana, untap Devoted Druid, replay Forest. Yeah, this looks like Cord. So they do have the Cord. Now they also need the win condition. Wow. Opponent has it. All right, our undefeated run stops on round number 4 after getting beaten on turn 3 by Devoted Druid, Vizier of Remedies, Elves combo. Their deck looked very good, actually. I'm kind of impressed at how good it looked. Was there anything we could have done? I think that we were short regardless. Like, we could have pacted for Azusa. That would have been plus 8 mana, but I think we would have been able to win. No, we couldn't have. Like, we drew this Stronghold. If this had been Semi-Growth Chamber, I think we would have been able to win. But we just had the wrong colors of mana. And here they just make both of them into 2020s, and we lose. All right, good stuff from opponent. Good stuff from Tron. All right, this is a good hand. Let's keep it. So we can go turn 1 Saga, turn 2 T-West, turn 3 Find an Amulet. We're playing, I imagine, the Mirror, because it's the only deck that could go turn 1 Saga and be happy about it. So I imagine that we're playing. My opponent's on the play and they have Amulet, so I don't love our chances. I don't really love our chances, if I'm being honest. Game 1 in the Mirror is fairly straightforward. It's the second Mirror we play this league. Kind of brutal, honestly. Not the biggest fan of playing the Mirror. Vesuva, my Saga. Okay, T-West, Seiko. So now their Saga's gonna pop off here. So I guess they're gonna have double Amulet before I get to do anything. Very rough. It's quite rough. That is quite scary. Can I transmute for Boseiju is the question. Because if I can transmute for Boseiju, then I may be able to do offsets what's a lot of stuff. So play Bounce Land here. Actually, I think I can transmute for Boseiju. So I play Grazer, Vesuva. Yeah, we can actually transmit for Boseiju. So I think I'm gonna do that. We do have to use it right now, so I think I'm gonna kill the Dryad. Mute or Boseiju. Could Boseiju the Amulet? I mean, my opponent's just gonna have so much mana if I don't, so I think I'm just gonna Boseiju the Saga. Boseiju in Amulet doesn't do anything, and Boseiju in Dryad doesn't either, because if my opponent does have the Titan, then they're gonna be able to transmute and find another pact. So we're gonna probably be dead. Ooh, opponent has mono bounce lands. All right, yep, that one plays. So now every Dryad nets me mana, as opposed to subtracting mana, which is nice. 2, 3, 6 mana, 1. Actually, it's better for me to prime time right here, I think. All right, we won because of my line. Otherwise, my opponent would have been able to get the Saga and get Expedition Map, and then find their they would have been able to find their Titan that way. So we did win because of my line of Grazer getting the thing. That was cool. That's cool. So we're gonna cyber the same way, cutting this, adding that, adding this and that. Bog out, Fountain out. That's it. All right. Opponent keeps 7. Probably not gonna keep an Olander. This hand would have been very good though. Chip it. This is much better. It's potentially rough if my opponent has the Force, but you know, you can only beat so many things. There goes my Ursa Saga. Opponent looks like they have a pretty good draw. Man, if I would have snapped off the previous hand if I had access to any untapped land. It was such a close hand. Kind of like this turn timber here. So much better than Tolera West. This turn timber right now, right? So much better than Tolera West. Can I have a Force, please? Force? Silly deck. That's not a force. Yep, pass it, give it back, cross fingers. It's a lot of triggers. That is a lot of triggers. Show me the prime time, baby. All right, and now we're gonna be on the play for game number 3. Any changes? Nope. Submit. Okay, we got the classic 3-0 into 3-2. It's not terrible, but not where you want to be, obviously. Bog didn't really show up whatsoever. We didn't really play against any. We just played a weird league, right? Like we played against Amulet twice. We played against the combo deck. We played against Mono Blue Tron. Like it was such a bizarre league. So I don't think that there's too many conclusions to draw from that. Besides, Karn looked pretty solid actually. Karn did not look bad at all. So this looks like a perfectly fine way to do things. I wonder if, like, if you, I guess we did beat Mono Red, and like Karn was incredible, so that's kind of not a small thing. But I do think I like the 3-1 split with Cultivator Colossus. Like you still want to have access to Colossus against blue white and against particularly against the Yorion decks, like the 4-color stuff. Is one of the ways that we can actually keep up with their card advantage. So I think that there's a ton of value in having the first copy of Cultivator. Obviously like the second one is kind of whatever, but this list felt solid. I don't know if I would really make any changes. The main deck looked fine. Maybe you could add the second Valakut, but like again, like that's such a thing that I don't know, man. Like Valakut is such a bad land when you draw it and you don't really want to draw it very often anyway. So just having the one crappy land to draw is fine. Maybe making room for one more bounce land is the change that I would want to make. But everything else looks perfectly fine. And I like this list a lot. Just playing Karn is very nice, I throw in metagame. The sideboard bullets could change. I could definitely see changing the sideboard bullets. But for now, I think that this is a very fine starting point. Particularly Relic of Progenitus seems like a little bit unnecessary. That's the only card that I'm just, you know, this could definitely be something. I would not mind that at all. This looks fun though. This looks fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. If you did, make sure you hit a like and subscribe button. And if you're interested in coaching, or if you want me to play any deck list of your choosing on a video or live on stream, you can find all the information you need in the description of the video below. Thanks again. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.